In the first months of 2016, Armenia was still discussing the December 2015 referendum and disputing the legitimacy of the vote, which decided that the country would shift from a presidential to a parliamentary system. However, on the early hours of April 2, Armenia woke up to what has since been dubbed the Four-Day War, an unprecedented escalation of armed confrontation between Azerbaijani and Armenian armed forces, the deadliest since a ceasefire was brokered in 1994 and reinstated in 1995. An adversary attack altered the contact line between Nagorno Karabakh and Azerbaijan that cost Armenia 92 military and civilian casualties and the loss of 800 hectares of land. This loss was not acknowledged officially until President Sarkisyan's May 17th interview on a plane on his way back from a meeting in Vienna with his Azerbaijani counterpart and the OSCE Minsk Group member states. This meeting was the first of a short-lived post-April reinvigorated period of mediation efforts in preparation for peace talks, which this year roughly amounted to discussing and agreeing on deploying OSCE investigative mechanisms on the contact line, the expansion of the existing office of the personal representative of the OSCE chairman in office, discussing and not agreeing on an investigation to determine which side instigated the April offensive, and the deployment of peacekeepers on the border. Exactly 2 months after President Sarkisyan's up-in-the-air announcement, on July 17, an armed group who call themselves the Daredevils of Sassoun took control of the Erebuni police patrol station in Yerevan, taking 6 hostages, all of whom were released prior to the group's surrender after 2 weeks. While the government branded them as terrorist, people consolidated and held solitary protest marches in support of the group and their demands. The group demanded the release of Ziar Sefilian, who had been arrested in June on charges of possessing illegal arms. Sefilian, a Karabakh War veteran and an outspoken advocate for a regime change in Armenia, had criticized the loss of 800 hectares of land in April and had called for an armed regrouping to liberate the lost territories. Sefilian's release and the release of all political prisoners in Armenia was the initial demand of the Sasna Dzrer group. The Daredevils of Sassoun also demanded the resignation of President Sarkisyan and that a transitional government be established in Armenia, that Armenia free itself of Russian influence and safeguard the territorial integrity of the Republic of Nagorno Karabakh. 2 police officers were killed as a result of the patrol station takeover. 47 people are under arrest in connection with the operation. 24 have already been charged. In the period between July 17 and 30, more than 700 civilians were detained without any grounds and around 100 people were hospitalized after police used excessive force and special means against the demonstrators and journalists. On September 8, Prime Minister Hovik Abrahamian handed in his resignation. This came a month after President Sarkisyan promised that a unity government would be formed in Armenia. Within days, Garen Garabetyan was named as Armenia's 14th Prime Minister. Dismissals and appointments from and to government posts followed almost immediately. In less than a month, the Armenian government was rejuvenated by an average of 4 years. About other developments. On April 24th, for the extraordinary impact she has had in saving thousands of lives and caring for orphans and refugees during the years of civil war in Burundi, Margarit Barangidze was named as the inaugural laureate of the Aurora Prize for Awakening Humanity, receiving a $100,000 grant and a chance to continue the cycle of giving by donating the accompanying $1 million award to organizations that have inspired her work. Pope Francis held liturgies in Echmiadzin Republic Square in Yerevan and Gyumri, paid his respects to the victims of the Armenian genocide in Dzizernagapert, and called for world peace. In 2016, the Republic's lawmakers decided to raise the income tax for anyone with a monthly income of 120,000 Armenian drams, that is around $250, from 26% to 28%. Anyone with an income tax of $1 million and more per month, that is around $2,000, will pay 33% income tax instead of the previous 26%. Silver lining, anyone making less than $250 will pay 1.4% less income tax. Again, this year, the government decided to deduct a monthly amount of 1,000 Armenian drams from the working individual's salary as capital for monetary compensation to families of soldiers who will lose their lives and health in the line of duty. The lawmakers also amended the electoral code in anticipation for the first parliamentary elections following the referendum, which will decide Armenia's state makeup in April of 2017. We hope 2017 will be peaceful and constructive. CivilNet will be watching.